say, oh my God, it is 8 a.m. It is 5 a.m. Pacific time. Let me know in the comment section who gets up so early during the weekend. And join me live is my new friend. I just connected through LinkedIn, Mr. Hanson, and who is actually based in Singapore. And those of you who have been following my journey, you know that this year I made the craziest decision to resign from my associate professor position, and I'm building my own school, hashtag classroom without walls. And so the very first program is an entrepreneurship immersion in Singapore. That's where I got connected with Hanson, who has his own amazing business based in Singapore. So Hanson is a father, is a CEO, and he is also a parenting expert, and he helps create programs to help parents like us to raise healthy, happy, and confident children. Don't we all want our children to be like that? I definitely want my kids to be happy, healthy, and confident. And Hanson is generous, and he is offering and attendees, students, and speakers who have brought their children to Singapore to join us in a few weeks. Some really exciting opportunities to explore outdoor play and skateboarding, and to build their social characters and social communication skills. And I'm excited to learn more about Hanson and to learn more about the exciting programs that he is offering us in Singapore. And my older son, he loves skateboarding. So I can't wait to learn more about this and to try this out. And you guys wait for some exciting videos. And we're live on LinkedIn. We're also live on Facebook, on Periscope, and on YouTube. And if you are live with us right now, please do let me know in the comment section where you are joining us from. And if you are watching this on replay, hashtag replay. Hanson, thank you so much for joining me live on a late Saturday evening.
Yes. Good morning to you and good evening to us. Good morning to everybody out there listening on the East and West Coast. It must be, what, 5 a.m.?
Yes.
It doesn't matter. Whenever you're watching this, it's good. And here in Singapore in the evening, and we are international, so it doesn't really matter.
Exactly. That's the beauty of technology. So I did a very brief introduction of you, Hanson, which does not do any justice to what you do. So share with us more about who you are, what you do, and so we get to know you more.
You are way too kind.
Oh, come on.
Seriously. I am so thrilled to come on the show with you and have this opportunity after a couple of chats with you and following you and this journey that you're on. I'm absolutely inspired, and I'm really, really honored to be part of this in any way, shape, or form to support you. Anybody out there who's listening and watching us, this is not about me. This is about what I is doing, and it's an incredible journey. So if I can just take a brief minute to introduce myself. I landed in Taiwan in 1995, and I was just gobsmacked. I was like culture shock. I mean, what is this? It's just so beautiful. The foods, the flavors, the aromas, needless to say, I've been out here for many, many years. So the journey was very, very simple for me. I was living in Sydney. I'd done my university. I'd grown up on a very, very small island with lovely people, a community of only 1,500 people, and it was all about play. Play, independence, having fun, exploring for yourself. Very few rules. Unlike Singapore, very few rules. Of the society that we live in now is a lot of rules, but we had the freedom to explore. And so when I went to Asia, if I can delve into that a little bit, I was absolutely amazed with how the parenting was completely different, and how the children behaved and how they learned things differently. And I'm not saying it in a negative way. I'm saying it was really, really amazing. It's really completely two different learning styles. So that's what that's what I did when I landed in Taiwan. I was just exploring. I was taking a gap year to explore a little bit about myself and about culture, because I was studying. Actually, I didn't write this. It's not anywhere in my bios. It's one of those things that what is it about you that people don't know? And the thing was, I was studying international business in Sydney, Australia, and one of the subjects was Chinese.
What?
And
Oh yeah,
I know.
Listen,
I know.
guys. Listen. Hanson, his Chinese is better than mine. I'm not joking. I'm not kidding. So good. Oh my God. I have to say that. Yeah, keep going.
But thank you. And it was really amazing. So I just had this kind of affinity and this pull to Asian culture. And it was really weird. Here's this white boy dropped into the middle of Taiwan. And the culture and everything was just so amazing and so intriguing. And I was like, this is meant to be. It's something kind of, they say in Chinese is you have fun. It's like, it's my destiny. And it brought me there. And then, so when I went back to Australia, I only lasted 3 months and I packed up everything, totally relocated to Asia. So that's the start. And we can go on for hours. There's a lot of different stories, but let's get back, I think, on track to where you ask me a question where you would like to go with the conversation.
Yeah. So this is so interesting. I love, like, I can see how traveling is changing you. And, people ask me, why do you want to have this immersion in Singapore? In the US, it's definitely easier for me. I'm in Philadelphia. We have people, Brandon, my dear friend, we have like 10 people join us live, believe it or not, right now. Thank you. Early birds. Yeah, we have people from...
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. People from Brazil, from Singapore, and from the US, from the UK. So thank you, everyone, for being here. And people ask me, why did you want to do this in Singapore? Because I believe in international traveling. And so many of us, our life is confined by boxes that we don't even see. Like traveling I think is the easiest way for us to see all the boxes that have been confining us, constructing our self-limiting beliefs and our identity. My major transformations in my life happened as a result of traveling. So when you said that, resonated so much with me. So share with us, Hanson, what made you so passionate about education? And now you are developing this business, and you have been in this business for 2 decades, and you serve thousands of children, and so amazing. So share the journey. What inspired you to be on this journey?
Yeah, that's a really, really good question. And if I can summarize it, is a lot of time has passed. But what really triggered it was while I was in Taiwan and understanding, just looking at the different ways that parents raise their children. And that was the intriguing part for me. And what I realized was, I'll tell you a real short story if that's okay.
Oh, yeah, please.
I got taken into Montessori school, and I was 21 at the time, and I was teaching, well,
I have no idea how I lost him. But you know what? As a live streaming host, I'm very good at improvising. So we have quite a number of people join us live right now. Thank you so much, everyone. So Hanson, what he does is really to build children's social skills and characters through outdoor playing, especially skateboarding. And he's going to bring us some really exciting activities in Singapore. So anyway, welcome back.
Yes, technology, isn't it wonderful? Can drop out just like that. So thanks for the kind words. And so what I was doing is I was in the Montessori school, and we were taking the kids on outdoor activities, because what we found was in our heart, what we wanted to do was play with the kids. And we were very, very fortunate that Miss Lamb, who was the principal of the school, she was totally behind the idea. Obviously, Montessori method is play and learn. She was totally behind the idea of us taking the kids out to the park. Now, that particular Montessori was, high net worth individuals, and their children were attending the school. So we had bodyguards following them in, Mercedes cars and popping their head behind bushes in Chiang Kai-shek Memorial Park. It was absolutely amazing. But for us, it was completely, we were completely oblivious to it. It was completely new. But the point of it was that we were taking kids that were traditionally educated and motivated and inspired through indoor and predominantly academics. And we had taken them outside through Montessori, which is play and learn, but we're taking them into the parks. And Taipei, have you been to Taipei?
Yes.
Some incredible parks. Anybody who's watching the show or watch on replay, Taipei is an amazing city.
Oh, so I love it.
I could talk about that for hours, but seriously, so we were taken to these parks, and just to see the children light up, you know, crossing a bridge, playing with the fish, even though they're not supposed to. And then what we did is we started, because we were skaters, we started skating to school. And Miss Lamb called me into the office and she said, you know how you skate to school every day? I said, yeah. She said, how about you and your brother? I was my partner in crime. I said, how about you guys teach the kids skating?
Wow.
And so we were like, we didn't even think of that. And so suddenly we had 10, 20, 30 kids after schools coming with us and doing skating at 5 years old, preschool. And it was absolutely amazing. So you asked me the question, what inspired me? Looking at those kids and seeing that they, in my opinion, from growing up in the way that I grew up, they were living a sheltered life that was predominantly academic. And I was just like, I don't want to help them because they're kids, they're going to explore for themselves. But I just wanted to be that conduit. I wanted to be that medium to help them discover even more about fun and outdoors. And I just felt so honored and so thrilled to have that opportunity.
So now you have this business model. So share with us exactly what programs does your program offer, so we know more about this. I know they are related to outdoor activities, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we do is we invite children and their parents to explore outdoor adventure. And so what we use is a simple model. There's a framework of, the first is character. So we have a framework, character, mindset, motivation, focus, and grit. So we have those 5 elements that work together. They interrelate with each other. And so we work through a simple process of understanding, where the child is now. Our program is specifically targeted for 6 to 12-year-olds, that really influential period where they're like sponge-like and they want to learn everything. And so we work with the parents to say, where is your child now? Where are their strengths? We identify this, we call them superpowers.
I love it.
And then we work on their superpowers to become us in their own world. And so coaching is not about dictating to the child. It's about getting the child to understand and to inculcate those values. So it's intrinsic, it's not extrinsic.
I'm losing you a little bit, Hanson. I don't know if everyone is also losing you. Oh, looks like you are frozen. And but I love this, how he's talking about. Can you still hear me? I love how you are talking about superpowers. I think this is something that I'm learning as an entrepreneur myself. I would just let me know if you guys can hear me. It looks like I can't hear Hanson. Let me know if you guys can still hear me. But I love this concept of superpowers. And so Hanson, you're frozen. So maybe you can come back. And I love this. Yes, you are frozen. So let me know. I'll come back, Hanson. And so I love this concept of superpowers. I'm an entrepreneur. Like, I'm new on this journey. And thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Andrew, for telling me.
Hello,
I think you are frozen. Can you come back? Let's wait for him a little bit. And so this concept of superpower, and I have been on my journey as an entrepreneur full time for only less than half a year, but like part time as a side hustle for quite some time. And I love how he's helping children recognize their superpowers, because for a long time, I don't even know what is my superpower. And like a few days ago, I listened to this podcast, and this guy was like a 7-figure coach. So he's giving people advice in terms of productivity, because as a solo entrepreneur, there are just so many things you have to take care of. So the first thing this 7-figure coach mentioned was that know your superpowers, right? So he told us to have like 2 columns. On the left, list 3 superpowers. On the right, list 3 things that you are not so good at. And so for the superpowers, you really spend the time and energy to cultivate. For the aspects that are not so good, you allocate to others. I can't hear you. I can't hear you, Hanson. Let me leave him a private note. Tell him I can't hear you, Hanson. And so this concept about superpowers, let me know if you can relate with what I was talking about. So after I hear that episode, I was like, wow, that's so true. I really start to understand myself better. What is my superpower? What is something that I'm really good at, so that I can leverage my superpower? And the things that I'm not so good at, I'm going to outsource, delegate, or delete. And so I just love when he mentioned that. And I think it's so important. And I like reflecting on my own educational journey. I spent so much time working on the things that I'm not good at. I think as parents, as teachers, we just remind our children, hey, Allison, or hey, listen, you're so bad at this. And let me send you to prep classes, tutor classes, and you are good at that. Let's forget about that. So eventually I grew up, the things that I was naturally good at was kind of, that skill is slowly fading away. But the things that I'm not good at, but my parents and my teachers spend so much time and energy helping me improve, I'm not interested in the subject matter. And that skill didn't become good enough, didn't become my superpower. But at the same time, I'm losing my superpower. So as you think about it, this model doesn't work. I don't know how many of you watching us right now, do you have kids? And let me know if you actually have children. And I think, reflecting on my own journey, this is something that I'm going to raise my own kids very differently, right? We want to spotlight and we want to focus on their superpowers, at least, not bragging about it, but be aware of it, like that's why. And I shared this earlier, to have my entrepreneurship immersion in Singapore, to really see the boxes. Every single person joining us live right now, we have like 14 or 15 people live with us right now. Each of us is in a box. Do you even see the box that you are in? Like a quick story. I grew up in China when I was a kid, and we have one child policy. They don't have this policy anymore, which means every single family can only have one kid. I never thought about it, because every single family was doing the same. And until I came to the United States, everyone started to ask me, hey, how do you feel about being the only child? I was like, really? Is that a question? I never thought about it, because I was in that box where everyone was thinking alike and was doing similar things. And so when I'm outside that box, I could really start to answer that question. Welcome back, Hanson. You were frozen. We were missing you. And
sorry about that, all, and thanks for being so patient.
No worries. So I could just talk forever. So
yeah, and everybody who's watching, that is the very reason that I reached out to this lovely lady, is because she's so incredibly passionate. And you just so much enthusiasm with your background and being a professor and all that, and you've come and done this. It's such a massive jump for you. And that enthusiasm, it's real, it's authentic, and it doesn't, exist out there in this market so much. So anyway, I'm gushing because it's awesome to be with you. And Please accept my apologies for technology.
Oh my God, don't worry about it. Please don't worry about it. Nobody left. People are still with us. We have 15 plus people with us right now, which is super, super nice. And we're having some good conversations. And where you got frozen is you were talking about the 5 elements. So maybe you can
Yes.
repeat the 5 elements and talk about how you help children recognize their superpowers. I just
Yes.
engaged in this elaborate talk regarding understanding your superpowers because I think our education is so good at helping us realize what we are not good at, not helping
Yes.
us understanding our superpowers. So I just love to
Yes.
mention that and tell us, remind us of the 5 elements you were talking about before you got frozen. Yes.
Yes, I was frozen in time. Thank you very much. So yeah, the 5 elements that we use, it's just a baseline. So we want to establish a baseline of the child, and it's it's not an evaluation. It's just a baseline. Who is this child? And there are many, many different ways to to evaluate that. But it's just a conversation. So with your child, your children, I and mine, when we talk about the kids, we talk about generalities about their, their personality and their strengths and their weaknesses, right, that we want to work on. So what we do is just come up with this framework, very simple, come back to that. 5 elements. 1 is character. The second one is mindset. Then third, focus, motivation, and grit. So those 5 elements is what we work on in our program. In our program, we call it Life Skills and Adventure Learning. So we're taking a child, we're not doing anything academic, we're purely working on play. And as I referenced earlier, that comes from my background in Montessori and teaching in Montessori in Taiwan. And earlier than that in business, I was an executive coach as well for telemarketing. So coming from being a trainer, coming from a small community, and then applying that as a father myself of 2 kids, battle-tested stuff, I found there's a lot of commonalities talking to parents about their weaknesses. Like you said, that's what the schools work on, is evaluating them and focusing on what they're not good at. So what we did is we said, first thing we want to do is identify very small wins for the kids, right? We want to identify the superpowers of the child. Now, once we do that, as you know, as an academic in helping people grow and learning, is once we establish their superpower, there is a lot that we can work with. Because if they're happy, if they're having fun, they are going to learn. And remember, it's all about intrinsic.
Oh,
so we don't want to be force feeding them. We want them to experience experiential learning.
So true, so true. I mentioned those of you who have been following me. I talk about this all the time.
Right.
Learning is an inside-out journey, but many
It's an inside job.
We got this wrong. We got this completely wrong. We treat it as an outside-in journey, especially as children grow older and older. Everything comes from the outside, and nothing is coming from the inside. That's why by the time I work with undergraduate students between like 18 to 21 years old, by the time they get to college, they are numb. They are numb. Their heart is numb. There's no spark in their eyes. They're not interested in the journey of learning. They give me their tuition. They want to purchase that degree as soon as possible. That's what hurts me the most. So share some stories with us, Hanson. I think you told me you have coached thousands of children who joined your program. So maybe you can share a few stories with us where children, by doing outdoor activities, skateboarding, and they have improved their social skills and those 5 core elements that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, that's so true. Taiwan was amazing. Hong Kong was incredible. And Singapore, I landed here in 99.
Oh my God, jealous.
Yeah, and when we landed here with the program, we'd already battle tested it for 6 years, but it's lifelong learning. So we're always making it better, and we're always adjusting to the market and thinking about technology and all these changes. So what did we do? Okay, I'll give you a couple of examples of, first of all, a boy called Patrick. So now that is his name, but this boy called Patrick, what happened was every time he would try something, he joined the program. We have a screening process. So when they come in, we know that we can actually work with the child. So it's coaching, it's not teaching, right? And we use skateboarding as a vehicle to get through to them. So like I said, if they're having fun and they're learning something, right, there's so much more we can inculcate, right? So that's where we start. Now, Patrick, he had some OCD issues. He had emotional imbalances. He was very emotional. So long story short about Patrick, he would fall, and the first lesson we teach kids is how to play and how to fall safely without injuring themselves, so they understand this. So anyway, we taught him all that, but every time he would fall, he would bellow, like loudly scream, and it was really upsetting for everybody because we would be so shocked, but he wasn't actually hurt. Right? He was seeking attention from his mother and his father and his surroundings that would always run to him. And that was his go-to. That was what's conditioned into him, that's his reaction. So he hadn't grown out of being a 3-year-old, and he was 9. You know what I mean? So what we did with this kid, the mother, after a few weeks, she would see it and she would just, oh my God, this is happening again. She would freak out. And I said to her, listen, the best thing you can do, leave, go and have a cup of coffee, go and chill out, go and read a book, come back in an hour. Just give us some time with him, give him some time with us. And what happened was, after course of several weeks and freaking a lot of kids out with his screams, everybody, it's amazing. You see how kids tune in. If there's a person with a weakness and or strength in a group, other children will be reactive, and they're not really sure how they should behave around this person. And that was really, really interesting for Patrick, because people weren't running to help him. We were walking and saying, hey, Patrick, you all right, mate? That was awesome what you did. Oh, he wasn't getting, oh my goodness, are you okay? He wasn't getting frantic. He was getting calm. And so what happened over the course of a few weeks, it goes into months, his mum would always go for coffee. Long story short, she came back one day and he had said to me in the break, Coach, please don't tell my mum that I can do this trick. And I said, okay, I wasn't sure where he was going to go with it. And then she came back with her coffee in her hand, and I acknowledged her, hi, and I was working with him, and he says, Mum, watch this. And he stood at the top of the ramp, and he rolled down the ramp, and he got to the bottom, and he just went, yes, like this. And his mother virtually dropped her drink and was screaming in excitement, because he made a breakthrough.
Wow.
And it's not that the mother wasn't parenting well. We all have our blockages, and so in this occasion, this example, she was able to let go and let her son have a massive transformation, a massive breakthrough. So, there's so many of these kind of stories. There's one more that I can relate, really short one. Have we got time?
Oh, yes.
Okay, cool. A recent student, he's in a really, really good school, an international school, St. Joseph's International School here in Singapore. And he is now turning 13. So he's at the top end of our student age. Now, Zach, he was so incredibly timid, climbing trees, rolling on skateboards, everything. He was really, really cautious kid. And so I thought, that's fine. You're allowed to be cautious. Let's find your superpower. And so we kept digging, and it didn't come to me for months. And then I said to his dad, Dan, you know what we could do? Why don't you put him in a camp and let's see if he can have a transformation, because we do like you're doing, a full immersion, right? So we did a full immersion for a week. By the second day, he started to break open. Wow. And by the third day, fourth day, he was at the absolute bottom. He was really tearing up. I can't do this. I really can't. And that's what we want. We want them to feel. And, Anthony Robbins says it all the time. And, you get your lowest point. That's when you're going to have a significant breakthrough.
Amen.
Right.
Breakdown to breakthrough. Yes.
Correct. So by having that intensity, and then I happened to be there. So I was doing, I think I did 2 days, the Monday and Tuesday, and the other coaches were running the program. I always do the first day and I always do the last day, and sometimes I come in the middle. But particularly for Zach, I wanted to be there. So I remember it was like a Thursday, and he was really teary. And I said, don't worry, tomorrow you're going to make a massive breakthrough. And I said, this is what's going to happen. You're going to be able to do this. Do you believe me? And he bought into it. And then what he did is we were sitting down after he did these ramps, right? And he made an incredible confidence boost. And he sat down, and before I could say anything, he said, "Coach, I am so amazed at myself. I have so much." I said, "Can you hang on a minute? And I pulled out my phone and I put on the video. I've got the video, and I'm happy to share it with you guys later. I'll just check with his dad if it's okay. But it was incredible. And he said, "This has helped me so much. I am so confident. This has," his words, "this has changed my life." And it wasn't what we did, it's what he did, but we helped him get there. You know what I mean?
Wow, I just love this. Like I think as children, they all have the inner power. They all have agency, but somehow something happened. They are losing that agency gradually. They are losing their confidence. Even as big people like me, as I start this journey, when I first started charting people, I didn't feel comfortable. I didn't feel like I was worthy. I was deserving. I was really crappy, imposter syndrome, all of those, baggage that came back from early childhood education. I think from my tiger mother, tiger father, and from my tiger teachers.
Absolutely.
And but I just love, like, can you imagine the level of confidence, the boost you are giving to those children, and how much they are going to carry that? I yesterday I just discovered this new term I invented. So I think at school, teachers, we should train and teach our children things that are not Googleable, meaning like character, grades, motivation. But on the opposite, our teachers are teaching our children everything that is Googleable, right? Like facts, information, formula, this and that, definition, everything is Googleable. They don't have to learn from you, but school should be a platform, a safety net for our children to build their characters. So I love this. I just want to show people some pictures. Look so fun. I can't wait. My students are going to...
Zach is there. Where is Zach? I'll put on my glasses. Zach is in that picture, I think, somewhere. Yeah, he is. On the left-hand side in the orange shirt. That's Zach.
This one?
No, go down.
This one.
No, left.
This one.
Left. Yes.
Wow, this is so cool. Is this something that my program, my children, my students are going to give this a try, Hanson? Or no?
If you can bring your kid and those other kids to this park, I will absolutely. I don't do the courses myself all the time, but I will personally commit. I believe in what you're doing so much. I will personally be there with maybe one or two of the other coaches, and we will run this for them. We can have half an hour, an hour, and you will see for yourself how much they get out of it. Play, learn, grow. That's it.
Oh my God, I love this.
Let's have some fun. I want to see you on a skateboard too.
Me?
Yeah. I promise you, this is amazing, right? I promise you.
You want to make sure that I'm safe, or like I'm alive so I can run the business.
Yeah. See, this is a misconception because, how you grew up and your self-limiting beliefs, and me as well. We all have these fears, but actually these things are incredibly safe if you know how to do it. So, through trial and error and with proper guidance. And if I can refer back to that, remember I said there was something really unique about Asian culture and learning that I loved? Do you remember I said that?
Yes.
And what it was is, can I tell you a really short story about Japanese?
Oh, please. I love stories.
Okay. So I was at Manly Beach, and I'm a crazy surfer. I grew up surfing on an island, right? So anyway, enough about me. But we were at the beach, and I saw, this is many years ago when I was about 18, the Japanese had just started doing surfing, riding surfboards. So they flew in a whole, looked like a busload of kids that were about 16 to 18. And they were at Manly Beach in Sydney, Australia. Those shout out to everybody in Manly Beach, Australia, or who have been there on a holiday. Great place. And these kids, they went straight into my friend's shop, Doug Lee's, who owns Skater HQ. And they spent oodles of money getting good equipment, like really good equipment, wetsuits, really good surfboards. And they stayed in the shop and they learned about the equipment. Now, what they did is they paid and they took lessons. Now, the person said, the person who was with them translating, because they couldn't speak much English, said, we want to learn how to surfboard properly, ride surfboard properly. And the guy was kind of laughing. We don't teach surfing. It's something you just do. It's an Australian lifestyle, right? And California. They took a nominal fee. They taught them how to surf. And within a really short period of time of a couple of weeks, these kids were surfing as good, if not better, than many of the local kids on the beach. Wow. And so the penny dropped. If you can put together what we grew up with, trial and error learning, together with some simple methodology, academic, which is your forte, right? If you can put those two together, you get the best of both worlds. And that is why, you asked me the question, why I've been in Asia so long. This is one of the biggest reasons, because I love how that hybrid model helps people learn.
Oh, I love this. And speaking of which, I have to give myself some plug. So my model is also a hybrid model. So we have an online learning component, and students of my program, they will also have access to LinkedIn Learning. They have thousands of classes, and they will have that for a year and certifications. I think this is a piece of paper, a degree is no longer sufficient to become to stay prepared in the 21st century. And so we have certifications. But I also think there has to be that in-person component. Nothing can replace that human to human, heart to heart, eye to eye, that type of transformation. Like my major transformations happen not from an online class, but from an in-person conversation. Even a conversation like this is still a lot more intimate than like learning behind the screen, like by yourself. I think it's good to a great extent, but it's not enough. So we have this in-person immersion, and I can't wait to have my children and speakers' children and the students to join this and try some skateboarding. So cool. Yeah. So fun. Yeah. Yeah, my older son heard me skateboarding. He's excited.
Yes, I can hear him in the background. Hi.
So he's 8 years old. He's going to join me on this program. Yeah. So this has been a really, really amazing conversation. I know it's really late for you. And so share, where can people learn more about you? And what's up with you next year, Hanson? Like anything cool and fun activities you want to share with us?
Absolutely. Thanks for asking. I think, talking about your immersion program, if I can plug you on that as well. I'm talking to my 12-year-old and my 9-year-old about it. And I know it's going to be quite booked up, but I'm thinking that if we can discuss it, I would like to at least put one of them in the program. And that way it's a feedback loop, so take my money, get them in the program. And we really do want to add value to your program. So it's not only, just all this fluff. We are here in Singapore. This white guy, this Kiwi, this New Zealand guy is here in Singapore for 20 years. And if there's something that I can do to help you and help, your viewers and your followers, I put my hand up. I'm here to help. So what's going on for us in 2020? We will be launching more of these programs, but more importantly, we will be putting together the active learning on the ground with, we need to scale in a way that we can impact more people. So, people throw, when they're starting a business or they're expanding their business or they're scaling, we want to help more people. How can we help more people on scale? We need to do online courses, right? So next year, we'll collab with you however we can, but also we need to add specifically some online tools to help parents and to be a resource center for parents who need more activity in their life and to understand, the benefits of play and learn. A lot of parents know it, but our society has changed, right? So we no longer have one parent staying at home. In most cases, both parents are working, they are time poor, but they're cash rich. So how do we get them engaged?
I love that.
You like that?
I love that.
Yeah. How do we get the parents engaged in a way that is meaningful, authentic, and is valuable to their kids without taking too much of their time from Monday to Friday, but on weekends they can. So I mentioned to you in a conversation that we are working intensively on a special little journal And those of you who are watching who have journaled in the past or done diaries when they were kids, the research is absolutely all behind the value of, like Jim Quick, you know, the man with a broken brain.
He was like going back to what we discussed earlier. He
Right.
was being labeled as like either stupid or something when he was 9 years old. He got traumatized by that. And right,
yeah. So you know, like there's so much. I mean, Brendan Burchard, Tony Robbins, all these guys, they journal every day, and there's a reason for it. So if we use that model down for children, yes, they need to be tech savvy. Yes, we're in this modern age. I'm not saying forget about that. I'm saying in unison with it, you know, to complement one another. If we have the kids doing 5 to 15 minutes a day of a simple journal where they can write something, they can do a doodle, they can do a crossword, they can do a multiple of things. They can read about, one page is about Elon Musk. You know, another page is about Madame Teresa. It's very, very, very light reading. And then you can a discussion point with them, say, you know, my eldest son is Harley. Harley, you read the one-page story about Madame Teresa. What do you think about that? And who do you see in this modern age who is doing things like her? Would you like to do things like her? You know, so role modeling, morals, values. And what we're saying, is 15 minutes a day. Who cannot afford their child to do 15 minutes a day? And there's a whole framework around it on how to do it in a way that it is self-guided. And we do workshops with parents and with the kids one time a month to make sure that they're on track to their bigger goals. And remember, it's not our goals. They determine their goals. They write down their goals. But without goals, you're going nowhere. It's aimless, right? You know that. So anyway, so that's what's happening in 2020. So we're working feverishly on that. Other than that, I've got a great holiday coming up with the kids, and we do more adventure learning. 6 weeks, Australia, Norfolk Island, and hopefully put in a little side trip somewhere. And so anybody who's going on holidays towards the end of the year, we do have holiday camps running. You can find us. Everything that we're doing is on GrowthWerks. I think you're going to bring up a screen share later, which is GrowthWerks, growthworks.com. And so if you scroll to the top of that, you will see right to the top, growthworks.com. And reach out to us, and I'd be happy to get back in touch with you. If you only need some information, fine. I don't have a course on there that I'm selling for you. I am just providing information for parents. If you want to join a camp, obviously those are paid programs. Just let us know. But more importantly, reach out. Parenting is the hardest job that I've ever done in my whole life.
Amen.
And we always need a village of parents who have similar problems, and just put your hand up and say, I'm struggling with this. Do you have a solution?
Oh, so many great points. It's so interesting that you mentioned this. Parenting is the hardest job. I feel like somehow we just assume because you know how to give birth, automatically you are a good parent, right? I feel like this is something we should be reading books, we should be learning, we should be having conversations with other parents, go to conferences. But we don't do anything. We just learn. You know how we learn? We learn from our parents, and our parents from their parents. That's why this whole thing never got improved. I also love how you mentioned journaling, and I love learning myself. So I actually listened to a podcast episode from Mind Valley. Many of you guys know. Those people, my audience, they know Mind Valley. And so I listened to this episode, and Vision, he interviewed this billionaire, and he pretty much journaled his way to become a billionaire. I was like, wow, that's incredible. And I love how you are really instilling those habits into our young children, because I think, you know, going back to the school system, we spend so much time learning Einstein, you know, Shakespeare, learning others. I think we should also spend some time learning and cultivating the self. I think this self, this focus on the self is so missing. And I just love how you are supplementing what children are not learning from a traditional school environment. And by the way, I also want to give a quick plug to my own program, you know, talking about plugging, now talking about supplementing. So like at my program, I made sure to invite practitioners, not just academics, our children, I believe you cannot learn to become an entrepreneur by sitting in the classroom. You cannot
Yeah.
learn how to be a cook or how to
Yeah.
be a skateboarder or do whatever by sitting in the classroom. You have to be learning this by doing this, making mistakes, adjusting, reflecting, and keep going. So all of those are top-notch, seven-figure, very, very successful. Dr. Natalia is a
Yeah.
LinkedIn instructor herself, and Jeff Hunter is a seven-figure entrepreneur, and he will be discussing digital copywriting, Google Analytics, Clarice self-development, Caroline from India, and social media community building, live streaming, Chocolate Johnny from Australia, and Dr. Terry from UAE, and talk about how to leverage social media to become a thought leader, and Tim Quinn, how to grow a YouTube channel in 2020. So I think it's really important to learn from like practitioners, not just academics. So if you guys are, oh, I think Hanson is frozen again. But it's okay. You guys got his contact information. I so agree. Journal is the best. I'm learning this myself, and also meditation. You know, Puri was just on my show yesterday. Definitely check out that episode. Who is a parenting expert and emotional intelligence expert? She has her own app, Fam Time, FAMTYME. Download and check it out. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining me live and on a beautiful Saturday. It's so early in the morning. And hey, Doc, so great to see you. And I think, you know, like yesterday I invented this phrase, you know, like at school we should really train our children things that are not Googleable, meaning that character building, cultivating great. I love how Hanson talks about great. And there's a very famous book and TED Talk, Angela, and she was talking about the importance of great and how those children they became successful later in life was not because how much knowledge, facts, information they memorized, but you want to say hi, but how much great children have. So I think those skills like mindset, great focus, maybe you can cultivate that inside the classroom. Motivation has to come from the heart, and character building, I think all those important skills have to be cultivated outside the classroom without walls. Anyway, I could talk about this forever. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us live. And Evan, you want to say bye to people?
Bye.
I love you guys. And remember, the best education happens outside the classroom. And do not outsource your children's education to a school. Figure out ways to supplement to meet their unique superpowers. I love you guys, and thank you so much for supporting Classroom Without Walls. Have an amazing weekend. Mwah! See you next week. Bye. This is fun.